But anyway, today's episode is one that you've been requesting for me to watch, not necessarily for us to do a show on, but for me to watch in general.
I don't remember. What is it?
You're such a ball buster. I love it. And so I would love, because you so heavily influenced me into watching this, I'd love to know your take first on today's episode. Welcome to the G-Spot, by the way. My name's Chris. As always, Liam's here with me. And we are the hosts of this here show. And we're diving into Boy Kills World today.
The mission is simple. Make the Vanderkoys pay for what they have done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go for it.
The whole... I went into that movie not expecting to take it seriously. Didn't want to. And I think because I went in with that mindset, I absolutely loved it. It was ridiculous in pretty much every way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%.
And that's really what I liked about it. Plus, dude does Archer's voice. That was some of the best hooking points to keep me engaged throughout the movie. It's like, what is his inner voice going to say next?
Give myself an inner voice. I took the last one I remembered from this video game. Player one wins.
Yeah.
The only parts I did not like were the lulls where that inner voice was quiet.
Interesting. Yeah.
The fun part for me.
I would agree with you. Having such an iconic voice actor, Archer, Bob's Burgers, do the inner monologue for him. Phenomenal choice, great job. Probably was one of the better parts of the movie for me as well. For me personally, you could have just got rid of the entire storyline, just removed it from the story, just remove it, and just have him having a conversation with himself as he fights people the entire movie, and I would have been hook, line, sinker. I would have been there. My favorite part of the entire movie is the end when he fights the shaman, and that whole part was like, that's what this movie should have been. All of this should have been wiped away, and it should have just been that. That was my opinion on it. But anyway,
I like the growth aspect. Obviously, we're going to spoil the shit out of this.
yeah.
So I like the whole, what's that called? I want to say Manchurian Candidate aspect of it. That's what I enjoyed about that. Brought me back to some older movies. Denzel Washington in Manchurian Candidate was freaking awesome.
And so you're talking about how they brainwashed him and
Yes.
inducted him into a life that he didn't belong in.
Correct.
Right.
Took this spoiled little rich boy and made him think that he was the son of a freedom fighter.
Right.
Welcome to the Resistance.
And he lost everything. He tortured him, cut his tongue out.
Burnt his eardrums.
Yep. With a hot poker, right? And that opening scene where he's crawling out of the grave kind of thing. I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fuck. Okay. This is going to get weird. But I went into the movie not ever knowing that the voiceover was going to be a dude from Archer. I had no idea about that when I went. I was just like, this looks like it's ridiculous and it would be fun, and reminds me of in, I guess, the early 90s, mid 90s, when my dad would take us on Fridays to go to the local video rental store, pick up a VHS.
I remember those days.
And then we would watch stupid campy movies.
Yeah.
And one of my favorites during that time period was actually Army of Darkness.
Yo, she-bitch. Let's go.
That's great. Great
But
stuff. I think we've talked about that in the past.
yeah, we have. But it brought me back to that nostalgia from a newer movie, and I enjoyed that.
Yeah. I thought, again, entertaining as all hell. There were parts where I found myself just laughing out loud.
Wow.
You ring the bell.
And Erin was in the kitchen, and she was like, that must be a pretty funny movie. And I was like, it is. The inner monologue's pretty freaking hilarious. And
Yeah, go team.
it is like a fever dream. Because you don't know what's real and what's not in certain parts of that movie. So you're just like, that's interesting, what's going on. One thing, though, when you first recommended it and I sat down to go purchase it, I was reading the description of it. And it was deaf, mute, boy becomes weapon, blah, blah, blah. And gets revenge for the death of his family. Boom.
So I made a 3-step plan.
Boom. And so I was like, huh. And then obviously it's the younger Skarsgård brother, who is really famous for Hemlock Grove, the new It's, A couple of different roles that he's phenomenal in. There's a movie that came out on Netflix where his older brother, who plays, you ever seen True Blood, the vampire series on HBO?
I know what you're talking about. I've seen a few episodes. That's not one that ever hooked me in. That was just soft core vampire porn.
Yeah. How about the new Tarzan? The newer Tarzan.
I did not
Live action. But, well, anyway, he's pretty famous. He's got like a lot of roles. He's done really well for himself. Like there's a bunch of brothers, and then the father who's in Marvel, and he's the new Baron in Dune 2, or Dune and Dune 2. So that's a whole family line, right? So his older brother does a movie called Mute on Netflix, where he plays like a character who basically is like a deadly ass assassin who cannot speak, and like goes on this crazy rampage of killing. And so it reminded, like, oh, these brothers did very similar movies. The plot very different. Paul Rudd's actually the villain in Mute, so it's kind of interesting because Paul Rudd's like not really a villain in my eyes ever.
Yeah,
he plays like a crazy, like he actually does a really good job playing like this crazy, like off the wall villain.
weird because that's so out of character for anything that he's played before.
He's got like this shaggy hair, and he's a villain in that one. But anyway, it's just like that movie reminded me of the same. So when I sat down, I had that mindset of this is going to be funny, this is going to be gory, there's going to be a lot of action, there's going to be over the top bone breaking and brutality, and I'm signing up for that right now. Here we go, here's my card. Right? And so I sat down with that in mind, and I loved it. I was in. I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I paid for. There's no real storyline, there's funny, banter, there's a lot of violence. That's what this is supposed to be about. The title of the movie is Boy Kills World, so yes, I expect this. And then we get to the scene where he finally gets to his target. He finally gets to her. And then they put that fucking spin on it. And I was like, okay, I'll sit through it.
All right, for everyone else, what spin are you talking about?
Okay, so if M.K. Jenkins' character is supposed to be like this evil person, but really it's his mother the entire time. And so, as you mentioned earlier when we were talking, the shaman brainwashes him into thinking that it's not his mother, that his mother was killed by her. Whole crazy thing with the shaman. But ultimately, 2 seconds later, she spent, I'm guessing based on the age jump, 20 years looking for him. Mm-hmm. And within 2 minutes was like, kill him. I don't know. That part was where the movie lost me. And I was just like, he should have just killed her. And then should have like realized that I knew from the start that June 27 or whatever she was, that was his sister. I knew that. Like that was a link in my head. I'm like, okay, that's going to happen. I don't know how. Either she took her and brainwashed her, or something happened, but that's his sister. Her sister's not dead.
I had the same thoughts around that.
They never show you the dead body of the sister. Even when they flash back and he looks over, you see the mom shot in his mind, but you never see the sister bleeding anywhere. She's just laying on the ground as if she's like sleeping, playing dead. So I was like, she's not really dead. In a movie, if you don't actually see the dead body, she's alive.
Yeah, but you have to think that we kind of enjoyed a whole lot of entertainment over the years for our lives, so we may see things that a lot of the average viewer may not notice.
Very true. Yeah, that's fair enough. And with experience comes more details you'll recognize for sure.
It's probably why we can see the ending of most things coming before it ever occurred.
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't see that twist coming for sure with the mom and the shaman and all that brainwashing thing. I didn't see that, but I knew the sister was involved still. That I didn't know.
I had a hint of it. When I was watching it, when I went through it the first time, yes, I watched it twice. Whoa. I watched it twice. Because it's ridiculous fun. It's not something that knowing the plot or the storyline will ruin.
Correct. Yeah. You're watching it for the mind, like for the fights.
For the fights, the entertainment of the ridiculous comments. Dude, those were great with the little sister. But
yeah, I mean, that makes the movie, is that dialogue between him and this imaginary sister in his head.
One of my favorite characters was the dude who wrote the script.
The brother, who was like, yeah. I mean,
I loved him.
He was good,
He was
yeah.
over the top.
Yeah.
And he was sick of the shit. He was tired of being a pawn in a system that he helped create.
Mm-hmm. No, I think also like some of the deaths, although over the top, were like comical, right? Mm-hmm. He was like, sweaty palms, like, oops, and just drops the freaking clamp on his head, and then the camera to the face. Very ironic for the PR brand master to get killed by camera. I don't know. I just thought like it was
Campy.
it was good in that aspect. But then when they actually tried to like throw a plot in there anywhere, I was like, please don't do that. Just please stop that.
No, bad. Don't do that.
Stop trying to make this serious. Like, just get back to what we were doing.
Yes, dude, it was just a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I would recommend it to anyone who likes a Pulp Fiction type movie, or what's the other one? I think, or if you like Quentin Tarantino style.
Yeah. It's just over to like, I would say, I wouldn't compare it to Sin City, but Sin City doesn't have, like, it's a lot of blood splatter and just depictions of violence, but like not necessarily like gore. Where this, there are certain scenes where like they're ripping each other open and you see it.
Like Kill Bill style deaths.
Yeah.
But but with way more humor and less seriousness than Kill Bill.
Yeah. Well, I think
Order.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I was listening to, have you ever seen the new show on FX, Shogun, that's based off of the books? About
started
the white guy that's in Japan.
I started to. I got like 2 episodes in, and I haven't gotten hooked on it.
Yeah. So I've heard really good things about it, and then I've also heard like not so good things about it. So I wanted to get see what you thought.
Have not experienced very much of that yet. I'm still in the early stages of it, and it's taking me a long time just to get through 2 episodes.
Yeah. There was a reason I brought it up, but that reason left my head. So if it comes back, I'll let you know.
All right. But all in all, I think this is going to be a very short episode. I like the growth of him refining himself through the sister. The sister showed up and helped remind him who he was. And like a light switch, literally, he's just like, this feels normal. This feels good, and goes straight to the sister side, because that was his best friend.
I was gonna say it was his anchor through like every entire movie. So the minute he had her again, it was like that was
Fuck everything else.
Yeah, everything else.
I don't care what team you're on. I'm on your team.
Yeah, and he was literally gonna let her kill him.
You never been so nuts about a guy you want.
And then she changed, like obviously, changes her mind and the whole fuck you thing. I thought that was cool. I'm saying fuck you 5 times. I love that. Yeah. No, yeah, all in all, I would say watch it. It's entertaining, and just don't take it serious and you'll have a good time.
So I guess we're just going to keep this one real short, have some fun with it. But let's introduce a little bit of another element to this. You guys have been watching us now for the past 2 months as we've been taking on this project and endeavor. So we want to reward the people that actually get to this point. So anyone who comments in here, the end of this month, being June, I am going to spin a wheel live for whoever puts a comment on this video, and everyone that is on there, that comment's gonna spin, and you guys will win a $50 Amazon gift card.
Boom. We appreciate you guys. We want to show you. So I love that.
Sound good?
I'm in.
All right.
Let's close it out.
Go watch it. I've watched it 2 times now, and that's probably a movie that I've watched so quickly for a second time. I very rarely do that. That says something.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, so I would second that. And so we'll see you guys on the next episode. You found the G-spot again, and if you're here for the first time, we're glad you found it. Hit subscribe and drop a comment below. See you guys next week. Peace.